Blessed be the fruit, literary canoners, and may the Lord open to our analysis of HULU's The Handmaid's Tale. Set in a near future, a totalitarian theocracy has overthrown the United States government and created the new Republic of Gilead. Gilead was a mountainous region east of the Jordan River, divided among two tribes in the Bible. This parallels the divided society present in the text. In Gilead, there are the elite and those that serve them. The name etymology ironically means eternal happiness. I'm not sure for who, really, except maybe the men. Under this militarized, Christian, fundamentalist regime, women are brutally subjugated. Their rights are stripped away, and they are no longer permitted to work, own property, control finances, or even to read.
The woman who usually works here.
Sorry, declined.
Really?
Yeah, insufficient funds.
That's not possible. I just deposited my paycheck yesterday. So.
Gentlemen, folks, may I have your attention, please? Ladies, you should all know that I feel really sorry about this.
Oh, shit.
To let you all go.
Wait, we're being fired?
No, not fired. No, let go.
Why is it just the women?
I don't have a choice.
Roger.
Women are also divided into a caste system, each with its own responsibilities and rights. And I use that term right loosely. Due to widespread warfare and pollution, infertility rates have skyrocketed. As a result, the few remaining fertile women are bound in servitude to the state. This new class, called handmaidens, are tasked with bearing the children of the elite, where they must submit to ritualized sex and consummation ceremonies with their now masters and in the presence of their wives. This HULU production, created by Bruce Miller, is based off of Margaret Atwood's novel, sharing many of the themes of George Orwell's novel 1984. Margaret Atwood's masterpiece, published in 1985, is considered to be one of the preeminent dystopian texts, laying the groundwork for recent texts like The Hunger Games and the Divergent series. Some might even say it is the mother of all dystopic texts. Sorry about that joke. I know it's a bit in bad taste, but those that know me know that when I am uncomfortable, that I joke to ease my discomfort. And Atwood's novel is both extremely timely and does not shy away from uncomfortable moments. In fact, this TV version contains some of the most horrific television I have ever witnessed, as it brings to visceral reality some events that I was only able to barely imagine in the book. Like my last video, I will use the trailer as a means for organizing my analysis of the text.
I was asleep before. That's how we let it happen. When they slaughtered Congress, we didn't wake up. When they blamed terrorists and suspended the Constitution, we didn't wake up then either.
The idea of sleeping and waking up is intended to highlight June's dawning awareness of the new world. But it could be more. Some lines from Atwood's poem, variations on the word sleep, seem to relate to the larger function of this text, which is to act as a warning. I would like to watch you sleep and walk with you through that lucid, wavering forest towards the cave where you must descend, towards your worst fear. The opening few seconds, in addition to establishing context to potentially unfamiliar audiences, is filled with some stark, contrasting light and dark juxtaposition. The use of light and dark as symbols has been used throughout literature, the most famous and apropos reference being from the Bible, Genesis, "Let there be light." Canonically, these two are contrasting forces, but can represent many polar opposites in literature: love and hate, as in Romeo and Juliet, or happiness and despair in others. McCarthy, in All the Pretty Horses, describes the past as the lighted world fading into a cold, dark, and barren future, as his hero passes into the darkening land, the world to come. This idea, I feel, is particularly relevant to A Handmaid's Tale, as the light of the world we know passes into the darkness of tyranny. Throughout the HULU production, light and dark are used throughout, sometimes to highlight monsters, at other times to provide hope, or even to accentuate the moral dilemma of the protagonist.
My name is Offred. I had another name.
It's time for my extended pause, this time around the idea of naming. The handmaids lose their names. Instead, they are referred to as patriarchal property, taking the prefix of, followed by their master's first name, of Fred or of Warren.
Good. I'm not Offred. I know, just it's hard to keep track.
Offred.
The last names are reserved for the wives, the actual women in this society. Atwood has said that everything that happens in the novel has happened at some time in history.
The Handmaid's Tale
Somewhere.
happened.
Somewhere. Yeah.
Somewhere. Yeah.
Somewhere at some time.
Yeah.
The stripping of names is similar to what was done during the Holocaust. This interchangeability of people is one of the more dehumanizing elements of Gilead, comparable to the cattle tagging the handmaidens receive. One of the more powerful scenes is when Mayday gets letters of the women collected to be snuck out of the country. As June reads these letters, we can see the women reclaiming their true identities, and this fills June with hope.
They took my son, Spencer. He was 5.
The power of notes and naming can be seen depicted in the dystopian text V for Vendetta, where the victims are also removed from their names, and Evie gains hope from Valerie's letter. The HULU series answers a 30-year-old debate, which is that June is of Fred's real name.
Is Hannah. My husband was Luke. My name is June.
Although the decision to give us her name decreases the impact of the dehumanizing aspects of this society, it does really reinforce the empowerment of these characters. So it is, in my estimation, an improvement overall. The choice of her name itself is interesting. Selected from the list of names of residents at the Red Center in the novel, June is archetypally a name which represents hope and beginning. Appropriately, June is the beginning of change to the handmaids, a catalyst for rebellion in the show. This decision to finally name June is also an interesting example of retroactive canon. Given Atwood's heavy involvement in the series, the name is now retroactively true for the novel as well. Another interesting name choice is of Glenn's true name of Emily, which, like the character, means industrious and striving. One of the characters is named Putnam, which can be an allusion to Arthur Miller's The Crucible, which is a critique of the McCarthy-esque dictatorships, the evil inherent in all of us, and a person's ability to gain redemption. It is centered in Salem and has a religious theocracy of puritanical values, which are comparable to Gilead. The other name of interest is Serena Joy. Ironically, this woman is neither tranquil nor joyful, and is arguably the worst person in the show. It too might be an allusion, but this time to a character in Spencer's The Fairy Queen, a woman who is constantly the victim of the outside world intruding on her private one. This theme, which is present in the TV series, and is an intentional addition by the director, along with the decision to make Serena Joy younger.
She made me feel sorry for Serena Joy, which is seemingly an impossible task. I felt bad for her.
This is water, and I'm not pregnant.
This was done in order to increase sympathy with her, as she is in some ways a woman who must deal with her role as wife being supplanted both sexually and romantically, at least in her mind.
The element that was missing for me was the direct competition between the two women. With an older Serena Joy, she wants something so badly that she felt like she should have had in the past. But she's past that point now, she's older, and she's using this young woman to try to get that. I felt that it was a more active dynamic if Serena Joy felt like this person was usurping her role, not only as the reproductive object of the house, but gradually taking away the wifely duties, the intimate duties, romantic, sexual duties.
In an effort to keep this video shorter than the last one, I have decided to break it into 2 parts. remember the righteous would like, subscribe, and comment. It is your duty to watch part 2. Under His Eye.